Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling strangely exhausted, yet unable to explain why? Nothing openly hostile was said, no argument occurred, and yet somehow you leave doubting yourself. You leave second guessing your instinct, and you leave carrying a heaviness that wasn't there before. What if the problem isn't your sensitivity, but the hidden agendas, social performances, and unspoken manipulations operating beneath the surface? Today, we are learning how radical honesty becomes the compass that keeps you centered. When reality itself seems to shift beneath your feet, what happens? What do you do? We live in an era where appearances often matter more than authenticity. Social media rewards performances. Professional environment reward diplomacy. Family systems even go further to reward compliances. Relationships often reward silence over truth, and the result is that many people spend years navigating invisible expectations, hidden motives, and shifting narratives without realizing how deeply these forces may affect their peace. And over time, this creates confusion. You begin questioning your instinct. You begin editing your thoughts. You begin managing perceptions instead of living authentically. Today's reflection is about reclaiming your internal compass through radical honesty and self-governance. Not honesty directed at others first, but honesty directed inwards to yourself. Because the moment you become honest with yourself, manipulation begins losing its power. We are going to begin by recognizing the fog of shifting realities. One of the most difficult forms of manipulation to recognize is the kind that never announces itself. There is no direct attack, no obvious conflict, no dramatic confrontation. Instead, there is a subtle distortion. A conversation that leaves you questioning yourself. A relationship that requires constant self-editing. A social environment where your instinct repeatedly feels inconvenient. And over time, these experiences create what many describe as a mental fog. You feel disconnected all of a sudden, disconnected from your own certainty or your own reality. You hesitate before speaking, you doubt yourself, you second guess decisions that once felt obvious. You wonder why you feel anxious despite having no visible reason. The fog isn't always evidence that something is wrong with you. Sometimes it is evidence that your internal reality is being continuously challenged by external forces. What happens when peace begins to dissolve your internal reality? Peace dissolves gradually. Usually, the process begins when we stop trusting our own observations. When we start prioritizing other people's narratives over our own internal awareness. The moment we begin asking questions like, maybe I'm imagining it or thoughts, maybe I'm overreacting, maybe everyone else sees something I don't. That moment, we slowly surrender authority over our own experiences. And once that authority is surrendered, confusion follows. When confusion enters the game, we start looking at the unspoken script. Every social environment contains script, rules that are never openly stated, but expectations that are quietly enforced by that environment. We have roles that are assigned without consent. Perhaps your role is the peacemaker, the caretaker, the achiever, the responsible one, the agreeable one, the silent one. The problem begins when the role you serve no longer serves you, or the role you serve others does not serve you. Yet you continue to perform because the social cost of authenticity feels too high. The pressure to perform is too high. At that point, many people feel frustrated because of the role they play. The moment they start performing, resistance appears. This is often where hidden agendas become visible. Not because people openly reveal them, but because they become uncomfortable when you stop participating. When your growth threatens an old dynamic. When your honesty challenges a comfortable illusion. When your boundaries interrupt someone's access, the hidden agenda reveals itself through resistance. The radical honesty resets at this time. One of the most powerful psychological tools available is naming what everyone is pretending not to see. Manipulation thrives in ambiguity. Hidden agendas thrive in silence. Distortion thrives in vagueness. And radical honesty introduces clarity. Sometimes the truth sounds like, you may say things like, I don't actually agree with this. That explanation doesn't make sense to me. I feel pressured right now. I think we are avoiding the real issue. I don't feel comfortable pretending everything is fine. The goal isn't confrontation. The goal is clarity. Recognizing, because clarity immediately weakens confusion. Removing the mask many of us wear for survival, and the mask of confidence, the mask of compliance, the mask of constant positivity, the mask of emotional detachment. The problem is that the longer we wear this mask, the more disconnected we become from our own realities. Radical honesty begins with admitting what you are actually feeling, recognizing what you are actually afraid of, acknowledging what you are actually noticing and what you are actually needing. Truth restores alignment, and alignment restores peace. Don't forget this. It's very important that we recognize this. At this point, you begin to neutralize manipulation. Observing manipulation how manipulation succeeds when it captures your attention. It wants emotional reactivity, defensiveness, confusion, even self doubt. Radical honesty creates observation. Instead of immediately reacting, you begin asking questions like, what am I actually observing? What facts exist here? What assumptions am I making? What behavior is consistently repeating itself? Your observation will interrupt this emotional hijacking, refusing, distorting logic. Not every narrative deserves your participation, and not every accusation deserves your defense. Not every distortion deserves your energy. But a powerful form of self governance is simply refusing to entertain logic that violates reality. You don't need to argue endlessly. You don't even need to convince everyone. You don't need universal agreement. You only need enough clarity to remain connected to what is true, that is pertinent. The cost of managing perception is very important because many people spend enormous amount of energy managing how others see them, trying to appear reasonable, trying to appear likable, trying to appear acceptable, trying to even avoid criticism. But this effort comes at a tremendous cost. Sometimes the energy spent managing perceptions is energy unavailable for growth, unavailable for healing, and unavailable for creativity, even unavailable for your own life purpose. So radical honesty returns that energy back to you. Choosing your internal clarity is important. The goal is not becoming indifferent. The goal is becoming grounded. Grounded people do not require constant reassurance. Grounded people do not panic when narratives shift. Grounded people trust their own observations and intuitions. Grounded people remain anchored even when others become chaotic or indifferent. So, my dear friends, it is important to stabilize yourself, building a daily practice of clarity. Internal clarity is not a one-time achievement. It is a daily practice. Ask yourself daily, what am I avoiding? What truth am I minimizing? What role am I performing? What reality am I refusing to acknowledge? Every honest answer will strengthen your compass. So creating an immunity to reality will shift things aside. When identity depends on external approval, everything changes. And changing opinions becomes a crisis. When identity depends on personal integrity, shifting realities lose their power. Your center becomes internal. Your peace becomes internal. Your worth becomes internal. And because it originates from within you, it remains stable even when the world around you changes. So, my dear friends, to conclude today's reflection, I want to remind you the greatest hidden agenda you will ever face is the pressure to abandon yourself in exchange for belonging into an environment, to silence your instinct, to ignore your observation, or to perform a role, to participate in a reality that does not align with your truth. But every time you choose radical honesty, remember, something powerful happens in your life. The fog begins to clear, the mask begins to fall, and the manipulations begins to weaken. At that point, your internal compass becomes stronger, because true peace does not come from controlling reality. True peace comes from remaining connected to the truth of your experience, no matter how much reality shifts around you. Stay honest, stay grounded, stay centered, and let your clarity become stronger than their confusion. If this reflection resonated with you, please share your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you like this, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so. Thank you, and see you in the next reflection.